There's a lot of external fears and a lot of internal fears. External fears, it's all around us, the pandemic, Ukraine, terrible situation, all kinds of personal situations that are external. But then there's internal ones, our self-talk, our anxiety, our irrational fears, the things that go over and over in our head that we just can't get rid of. I always tell people anxiety is like that little bird chirping in your head, negative things, this is going to go wrong, what about that, you screwed that up. And I believe that anxiety over time is depression. A lot of times the obvious one is, loss of motivation, difficulty sleeping, appetite disturbance, those kind of things, down mood. But a lot of times it's really more subtle, like for example, in teens, a lot of times irritability is the first sign of depression. So sometimes we kind of mask it. We're feeling depressed, but it comes out looking like anger. And so that's why it gets to be really difficult. We need to be really self-aware. What is really going on with me? That honest approach to taking a look at what's happening with me. And ironically, one of the ways that we can get honest with ourselves is by processing with other people, and that really helps sort of a right brain connection to get more honest with ourselves. We get that feedback from people and we can tell, well, maybe there's something else I ought to be looking at. And I realize when you're depressed, it's really hard to generate energy. That's absolutely true. But, doing things really impacts our feelings. So that's the whole basis of cognitive behavioral work is do, then feel. So we can take control of little disciplines, physical disciplines, spiritual disciplines, emotional disciplines, just little things that we can take control of in order to feel better. Of course, I'll always want to give a plug to New Creation, obviously, and I think everybody really ought to have that safe place where that can download. You just need to have that. But what I tell my clients is, I give them a visual. You got to get it out of here and out to here. You got to do that somehow. The best way to do that is to talk to another trusted person. Because left to our own devices, we will go on and do that self-play of negative talk, negative thinking, and it becomes a pattern and it kind of like grooves in our mind and we can't get out of it. It becomes that rut. And so we need a jolt out of that. Sometimes it takes medication to help overcome that hump, and that's perfectly okay. That makes sense. Medication is, because our neurochemistry really does change. It changes our brain. Depression changes our brain, All the research on trauma is that early trauma literally changes the way we see the world, literally changes the way we perceive things. So it's important to pay attention to that physical part too. But from a remedy standpoint, the one that's closest to us and the one that, I think the Bible tells us about is being involved with other people, having an intimacy, an emotional intimacy with other people. It's huge.